worried when Caroline started talking about speed dating because I had forgotten to go home for my 5 o'clock shave and that I would be at a disadvantage. But just to thank all the speakers, and Cora will address you shortly as well. Friends, I think the atmosphere in this room this evening tells me that we need have no fear for the pro-life movement in Ireland. And I think that's because we are, without thinking that we're better than anybody else, it's only the, the one about the Cork fella with an inferiority complex. He thought he was the same as everybody else. We don't. Apologies to Cork people, I know some of them are my neighbours. We know that we are bigger picture people. And those of us that are blessed with faith in our lives know that this is no lasting city. We know that the job of transforming ourselves and transforming our culture is something that we will always have to be getting on with anyway, regardless of what the law says in any particular time or any particular place. We know what we were up against. We were up against big forces, the power of the establishment, the power of groupthink in our society, an activist media, money from abroad. You know what we were up against. And when it came to telling lies, they didn't mind doing that either. They know it, we know it, they lied. Okay? Let's be clear about that. But we are not despondent and we are not depressed, precisely because we are big picture people. And as I said, yes, we have to be in the business of politics. And we'll have a lot to do over the next few months. And I would ask you to be busy talking to your local politicians to remind them actually of this. And I know there are members of Renua here this evening. That party grew out of the decision of some courageous politicians to follow their conscience in politics. And it would be absolutely intolerable if just because the 8th Amendment has been taken away and politicians now have a free hand on abortion, it would be absolutely intolerable if politicians who, fair play to them, stood up to defend the 8th Amendment, if they now allow themselves to be cowed into obeying the party whip again, when all that has happened is that the decision has been So I don't deny for a minute that many people voted with the government's threatened legislation in mind, and we know there were hard yes votes, people who believe that this is simply a private matter and the baby's rights don't come into it. They may not like the thought of abortion, but they're not willing to see that the law needs to protect the innocent third party in this particular case. But we must never forget, friends, that there were thousands and thousands and thousands of what we might call soft yes votes. And these are the people who were fed a daily dose of a small amount of very hard and difficult tragic cases, which genuinely are difficult tragic cases, and they could not get beyond those. And it was very difficult given the amount of cultural conditioning that was going on. And it is not for us to think that we're any better than the yes voter next door, even if we're disappointed at them, even if we're disappointed at what the Irish people by a 2/3 majority have thrown away. We must work with the good in those people, and there's an awful lot of it. There's an awful lot of people who weren't able to say abortion is always wrong, but they certainly don't believe that abortion is always right. And we need to be very, very busy, busier than ever, talking to those people, engaging with those people, and reminding them of what's at stake. But even if we had won, friends, even if we'd won by a margin, the same cultural challenge would be there for us to tackle, which is the challenge, as others have said here this evening, of educating each new generation. There's people being born every day. There's people coming to political awareness every day. There's people leaving school and entering a world of freedom and some temptations and some opportunity every day. So those are new people that we need to be constantly reaching out to, using all our ingenuity. Yes, we no longer have the support of the law, and that's a big disadvantage. But all the other stuff remains the same. We now need to redouble our efforts and up our game in the area of arts, culture, science, education in particular, and of course the whole busy and important work of accompaniment of people, which is going to be such a part of the pro-life campaign of Love Votes Future, accompanying people in practical ways to help them choose the better thing for their happiness and obviously for the sake and dignity of welfare of the child. So, you know, friends, in a way, yes, we're bitterly disappointed at the result, but in a way so many things haven't changed. And the test of us now is, do we redouble our efforts and rebuild the walls of our city. And that's not just about the law, although that's an important part of our focus and always will be. It's about so much more. It's about so much more work that we would have to be doing anyway, regardless of what decision was taken in the referendum. And I think we all know that here this evening. And I think that's why, you know, despite the disappointment of the event itself, there is a deeper hope, there's a deeper sense of ambition and aspiration in this room. This isn't like a Hillary Clinton night after party where everybody is, you know, getting ready to drown themselves in the bath. Probably not. Sorry, politically incorrect thing to say. We are people with a purpose. That hasn't changed. Sure it hasn't. Okay? So we're many are bamboozled by the culture, but we are not. And we are not going to be passive recipients of the worst of what society has to offer in this particular time and place. We're going to be active protagonists for the sake of ourselves and the people we love and the people that we haven't met yet that we love even without liking them in some cases. It's not easy to like everybody. We've got to be those people of love, okay? And it can't be the Ned Flanders kind of love in The Simpsons, which is a big turn off to everybody, okay? It's got to be the good stuff, and we're all capable of it. So we're going to, you know, really best our previous game. But so much has been achieved. You know, we can't say it often enough. People have heard Cora, or Maria, or any of us on a good day putting our message in the media. And not to mention the countless engagements at the doorsteps. You know, people like us who speak publicly probably get more credit than we deserve because anything we do or say, you hear us doing or saying it. Thousands of people putting their back into canvassing and, you know, polite and friendly conversations. We'll never know the impact of the work we have been doing. And it may have had a transformative impact in countless lives. We don't always get the privilege of seeing the results of our efforts. That's not always given to us. That's why Mother Teresa of Calcutta said, you're not called on to be successful, you're called on to be faithful. And it is that faithfulness. We don't have to, we're a third, and a third is a big, big number, okay? And hopefully it'll be a growing number thanks to your efforts and mine. But we don't have to be in a majority to change our society. We just have to be a sufficiently vibrant minority. And that's what we're going to do. Pro-life campaign is a non-denominational education. Its message is for people of all faiths and none. And there is no easier idea to get, whatever faith you have, than the idea that everybody deserves a chance at life. I often like to say, I've been in perfect life, but you know what, I'm very glad to be living this imperfect life, and that's all we've ever wanted for other people, particularly the invisible, the tiny minority among us, okay? But you know, we also know that the faith of so many people keeps us going. And I want to say to you tonight what you already know, that the three things we need are prayer, sacrifice, and action, okay? To those who donated, Irish thank them already. That is serious, and it has made such a difference. It allowed us to put the best foot forward. It didn't get us the result, but think of all the people who got a positive message about the pro-life campaign in a way that, as I've said, will be transformative in the future. Now, you know that I'm a shy person. You know that I don't like to talk about myself. It's not true what they say that I'm a great welcome for myself. But in politics, you always have to be a little bit afraid, and Eilish did give me permission to say one thing that pertains to my own selfish needs this evening, so I'm going to say it and then I'm done. Is that alright? I don't go on social media very much. I believe Twitter is for the mad, the bad and the bewildered. But I'm very grateful to those of you here who have been active on Twitter counteracting the really mad stuff. But for those of us that have a political role, I think we're often well advised to keep away and not to hear everything that's been said about it. My brother said to me the other day, you realise you're one of the most hated people in the country. He's that kind of brother. And I mean, ironic, you know, he's a builder. There's so many people hate him much more than they hate me. For very good reason. Anyway, I was made aware of the the fact that there is a little thing going called Repeal Ronan. I hate talking about myself, but there is a little thing on the social media going called Repeal Ronan. Basically, when they want to get NUI graduates on the register to kind of boot me out at the next available opportunity. And I was informed by the NUI that